Hello everyone and happy October month. And today what I'm going to do is a free flower arranging class on how to do a Halloween October fall table centre table arrangement. So what I'd like you to do first is comment underneath, let me know where you're watching in from. And again, I'd really appreciate if there was any chance of you clicking share. Remember, when people share our videos or they interact with us, it does actually interact with our analytics for our website and also for our social media pages. In other words, Google absolutely loves it. So again, comment where you're from, and you know, here in Dublin we always like to know what's the weather like around the world. Have to say it's not too bad of a day in Dublin, but you never know. It could be sunny in the morning, it could be raining in the afternoon, and we could have thunderstorms and lightning in the evening time. So today, as I said, it's a table centre and something very simple. So the bases I'm going to use, these are these Oasis rings, okay, which you can buy from your local florist, but you can also get them from the wholesalers. They always come in twos when you buy them in from the wholesalers. And these particular ones that I'm using today have a dry oasis in them. Where most of you have seen me using these before, it's always been a wet floral foam that I've actually soaked in water myself. Where these ones actually are a dry floral foam, okay? There's two in the packet, I only need one. Now the only thing is, we have a very special price on these on our website. We have them for sale. All you have to do is go to our website www.caseflowerschool.com and click on the floral sundries button. Now there is a very limited supply of them. I got them in on a special offer. I'm just selling them, and a bit like Harvey Norman here in Ireland, when they're gone, they're gone. But in the meantime, if we're out of them, you will be able to purchase them from your local florist wholesaler. While I'm explaining, I'm just going to get the knife and I'm going to trim around the edges here. I always like to trim the edge off the Oasis. I find I get a better shape when I'm making my table centre. So the wholesalers that you'll be able to purchase these from, and you'll have absolutely no hassle with getting served. In other words, you don't need a VAT number, you don't have to spend a certain amount, and you don't need to buy a minimum quantity of items. So if you either contact O'Neill's Flowers in Carlingford, if somebody might tag them there, they're on Facebook and they're on Instagram. Or you can go to Evergreen Silk Plants, and they're in Ardee, County Louth, and again you'll find them on Facebook and you'll also find them on Instagram. Somebody might tag them there in the comments for me, really appreciate that. And you can go onto their website, look up Dry Oasis floral rings, and you'll be able to purchase them. I'm using the one that has the plastic base at the end. This base can be reused. You can always scoop out the old foam and you can replace it with new foam. And if you choose to put a wet foam into it, absolutely ideal. You can put the dry foam back in again, or the other option you have is actually to put chicken wire in, secure it in with a little bit of twine, and again you can do a foam free design. So it is great, the plastic is reusable and it does make it that little bit secure. Now because I'm doing a table arrangement, I'm going to add some candles. Now unfortunately, when I was getting prepared for this, I couldn't actually get any orange candles, but I'm sure, like obviously when you're watching this video, I bet the orange candles actually are in stock in the suppliers. So I'm just going to add in green candles, but I would have preferred orange. But the green, I suppose, is it's kind of normal, or I suppose it's fairly neutral is what I meant to say. Now something that you will need for this table arrangement is a glue gun. Now this is a glue gun that we bought in the flower wholesalers, and again you can buy them from the companies I mentioned there. O'Neill's Flowers in Carlingford, somebody might tag them. Evergreen Silk Plants in Ardee, County Louth, somebody might tag them. And I also forgot to mention wholesaleflowers.ie based here in Dublin. Somebody might tag them too, and you can buy the Oasis bases from them as well, but also that's where you buy a glue gun. In saying that, we have often bought the Lidl and the Aldi glue guns. I probably have one here. There you go. That's it just hasn't got the wire attached to it. It's detachable, the wire, okay? So that is the glue gun that you can buy from Lidl or Aldi. £10.99 I think they are. They're very reasonably priced. They work out absolutely perfect. They do have a little stand on them, but the usual here at Case Flower School, everything goes missing, okay? But I have a couple of glue guns because often if I'm busy I'd have a few glue guns going at the same time. Now normally when you're using candles in an arrangement, I suppose, especially anybody that has been floristry trained, you probably have been taught to use the uneven numbers. Now I'm feeling in a bit of a rebellious humour today, so I'm actually going to use an even number. And I would always tell our students, never use 4 on a circle because 4 makes a square. But I'm actually going to use 4 today. As I said, I'm just being a bit controversial today. And I'm putting 4 candles in. I suppose that's just the sort of humour that I'm in today, just to do something a little bit different. So what I attached to the end of them candles was a candle holder, and you'll buy them in your flower wholesalers, and it just makes the arrangement that little bit safer. You don't have the fear of the candles toppling over. There is ways of attaching sticks, and I've showed that in other demonstrations, you know, that way. But for this particular arrangement, especially with everything being artificial and kind of like dried material, I would prefer to use the candle holder from a safety point of view. Okay, next thing then is going around to different wholesalers. So again, the 3 that I've mentioned, O'Neill's Flowers, Evergreen Silk Plants and wholesaleflowers.ie. A lot of them sell a selection of what I'm going to show you, okay? Like this one is actually from O'Neill's. It's like a mixed bush, okay? And there's a little bit of everything on it. There's some lovely foliage leaves. And what I've been doing is I've been cutting some of the foliage leaves off, you see, just individually. There's a little flower, there's a little bit of berry in there, and there's another little bit of like a hydrangea head, there's a bit of artificial fern, and it looks like 2, I don't know what they are, they're not conkers, hazelnuts, chestnuts, whatever, something that squirrels eats anyway. But that was all on that one stem. This is just the similar one where I've been cutting off the leaves, just to kind of give you an idea, just to kind of get a bit of prep work done. And this was another stem that they had, and again, I've just taken off some of the leaves there, I've left some of them on just so that you could see them. So just what I wanted was a selection of leaves. This was another one that they had, I've taken some of the leaves off it, but there's a little Chinese lantern on this one as well, and I'll probably use the Chinese lantern. But in Evergreen Silk Plants, he sells these little bundles. Don't know the price, okay, so you're going to have to go get onto their site and check them, okay? But there's loads of them. It's like getting new money out of the ATM machine, and you know they're all stuck together, right? So there's all these little individual leaves, okay? So it's like, as I said, counting me money there, separating them all. They're obviously all being cut by a guillotine all together at the same time. But there's absolutely loads of them, okay? Haven't got the time to separate them all and count them, but that's what they look like. And in the packet they're all the same colour, but there's lots of different packets of them. Again, just look up packets of leaves and that's what they look like, and these are ideal for doing this particular arrangement. So what are you looking for when you're buying your materials, okay? So some leaves, and I showed you different ways that you can buy them. Maybe some berries, like reds will always, like even though this would do at Christmas time, this would also do around Halloween, October, autumn season. The reds and the oranges look really well together. I have this kind of like reddy burgundy kind of like berry flower as well. Don't even ask me what it's supposed to be. I thought this one was absolutely gorgeous. This was from O'Neill's, okay? And is a €6. €6 for the stem. I think that is exceptionally good value. Now I'm probably going to cut up quite a lot of it, you know, that way, but I won't use the whole stem. This particular little bush, this was from Evergreen Silk Plants. This is the price on this one. This one was only $2.90, and it has this one in different colours. And again, I'll break it up just to get the different berries. So I'm looking for a selection of leaves and a selection of berries, and then kind of something extra to add into it. So I'm thinking kind of maybe a couple of our fruit slices. Now you'll find that you'll get the fruit slices from both 3 places that I've mentioned, but the ones I'm using today, them big ones, they're actually from Wicklow Foliage Farm. So if somebody might tag them in the comments, they're Wicklow Foliage Farm, and that's where you get them large orange slices that I'm using today. I have a couple of artificial apples, but listen, this time of the year, there's no excuse not to go to the supermarket and buy, you know the way they sell a bag of small apples, ideal for kids to eat, like real apples I'm talking about, and you probably get them as cheap as these artificial apples. These artificial apples are from O'Neill's Flowers up in Carlingford. I think they work out about 80-90 cents each, and I think there's 12 or so in the bag. Again, they are lovely, but you probably get real fresh apples for the same price. And what you could do is you could use like a lollipop stick, you know, that way, to insert your apple down into your frame. Or again, because these are artificial, I'm going to be gluing everything. And the other thing I have then is some little pumpkins. And again, I got these from Evergreen Silk Plants. They came on a garland and I just cut them all up individually. But I have other pumpkins that I'll use in another table arrangement later on. So that's kind of giving you an idea, like nobody feel, oh God, I need the exact same stuff. You don't, you know, that we basically use what you can get your hands on. So using my glue gun, and I'm putting some glue on the back of the leaf, okay? And I'm placing the leaf onto the frame, but the idea is that I want the leaf to hang down onto the table. So I'm using a turntable today. The turntable that I'm using is from IKEA, and somebody might get the link. We always have Noreen and Celine on, and they're absolutely, Celine is a whiz kid. All you want to mention is a link for something, and in 2 seconds she has that link for you, and she has it posted up on the site. Now, I'm not following any particular pattern, okay? But because I have a couple of these kind of like orange leaves, I'm just kind of dividing them around the base so that I don't have all the orange leaves in just the one section. I want to try and kind of mix them. And as I said, when I was cutting up the leaves, I cut them up off different bushes and stems, you know, that way, so that I had a selection. So I'm just kind of like randomly like placing them onto the base. Obviously with the glue, you need to hold it kind of just for a couple of seconds, just to kind of like let it set. Now the floral glue will stick no problem at all to dry oasis, okay? Because the floral glue is designed to soak into the oasis a bit like wood glue. Now you can buy glue in a tube, so if anybody doesn't want to buy a glue gun for themselves, you can buy off any of them wholesalers that I mentioned. You can buy like a tube of glue off them, and again it does exactly the same job, you know, that way you work it the same way. The only thing I find a problem with the tube of glue, it's quite messy, it is, and the glue is all like little like cobwebs kind of coming out, but listen, you get over it. Now what I'm also doing is I'm adding some leaves to the inside of the base, and when I'm adding them into the inside of the base, I'm kind of like letting them hang downwards. So again, they're covering the plastic ring, you know, the plastic base that I showed you earlier on, which I loved, okay, but I do want to hide it because it doesn't look nice. It's a little bit unsightly. So I'm placing some of the leaves on the inside of the base, and again I'm letting them kind of hang down onto the inside to cover that plastic ring that's on the inside. Now I'm not actually trying to cover all of the oasis, okay? I am leaving some of the oasis kind of showing for the moment, and the reason for that is that I can actually stick some of the items down into the oasis base. But afterwards I'll probably go back over it, and then I'll add a few more leaves in, and I'll cover then any of the base that's still showing at this stage. Now this is something you could get your kids to help you out with, but not with the glue gun. The glue gun is miles too dangerous for kids to get your hands on. You can give yourself a mighty burn. And there's a good chance before the end of this demonstration, you might actually hear me say a prayer in French, Latin, a little bit of German, and probably Afghanistan thrown in for good measure. In other words, a little bit of bad language. You have to be really, really careful. When you're using the glue gun, I would suggest to you to have some lavender oil beside you, or a little bowl of cold water. If you just put your finger straight into the cold water, the glue will go hard, okay? Don't peel it off straight away, like let it kind of like fall off. If you do burn your finger, don't put your finger into your mouth. It's the first thing you do, and what will happen is you'll probably burn your lip, okay? So you won't stick to your lip, but you'll actually burn the lip. So I'm happy enough at the moment with the couple of leaves that I've actually placed in there. So I'm just going to turn that around just to give you an idea, and you can see I can still see oasis. Don't worry about them little cobwebs of glue, they'll all peel off afterwards. And that's what I was trying to describe with the tube of glue, is you normally get lots of these kind of cobwebs, and they're a pain in the bum to kind of peel off afterwards, but still with kids it's an ideal thing to use. So now I'm going back to my bushes, okay? And this is where I'm cutting off a selection of the berries. So just kind of going along here and there and cutting off a selection of berries. If anybody has any questions while you're watching there, feel free to put any of the questions in the comments. If we don't see the questions while we're actually live, you know, that way that Deirdre doesn't get to call it out to me, I will go through all of the comments later on, because I always find I get a lot of people watch this on the replay. So I will go back later on and I'll go through all the comments and I will respond to everybody. So even if you are watching this on the replay, feel free to put any questions in the comments, whether it's about suppliers or, again, techniques or alternative stuff. Or again, if anybody has something and they kind of feel, oh God, could I use that instead? Absolutely, put it in the comments there, put a photograph in the comments, and I'll have a look at it afterwards. So again, with these little bushes, you can see I'm cutting up some of the berry, and I don't want any of it to waste. So sometimes I'm just cut the little tag off. Sometimes I'm also cutting off the little leaf. There's a plastic stem on these, so you can see the way they'll actually just go straight down into the oasis. So again, randomly here and there, I'm just adding in, just want to cut the berry off this one. just so that I get that little piece of leaf, okay? So here and there, I'm just going to add in just a little stalks, anywhere that I can kind of like reach the oasis, and it just gives me a little bit height, you see, in the arrangement to start off with. And then I'm getting the berry, and again, just randomly, I'll start with the red one first. Again, I'm just securing it down into the base here and there. Now, if you find that your berry hasn't got a stem for whatever reason, you can always glue it straight on. But obviously, the more things that I can stick into the base, the easier. Now, that lovely orange twig, I absolutely loved that one. That was the one that was €6 from O'Neill's, you know that way. Again, when I was cutting it, I left it that there was a little bit of stem on it. So again, I'm able to allow some of the berry to stick out, some of the berry to stick up, some of the berry to kind of go into the inside, and again, just randomly here and there, and using the oasis that I can still get at, you know, that way I'm actually securing it into the base. I've left a tiny little bit of height on some of the twig, that berry fell off it, you know, that way, and again, that's just giving us a little bit of a 3D effect. So our orange berries and our red berries, I have to say, looking really classy looking. Just kind of clean the end of this one just so I have a nice clean stem on it for it to actually go into the floral foam. Now, a lot of people ask us, what do we do here at the school? So these free classes that we do, these are kind of more hobby classes. They're for like say, a lot of you looking there at home, giving you ideas of things that you can do at home, you know, that way, that are not that expensive. And we're showing you where you can buy the materials, etc. Now, while I'm doing that, I'm going to add in a few little apples here and there while I'm talking away. So I find when we're doing the classes here at Case Flower School, right, our classes are more professional classes, and they're geared towards people who want to eventually work at it, okay? And when I say work at it, like they want to work at it and make a profit. They're not just doing it as a hobby. They want to do it and make a profit at it. So to make a profit at it, you need to know how much the item is costing you, how many stems you need. We call this the stem count, or the recipe, or the list of ingredients. They need to know like what it's costing in total to make the arrangement, what the formulas are for multiplying it up to get the selling price. And it's not just a case of, oh, multiply it by 2 or multiply it by 4 or multiply it by 6. It doesn't work like that, because some items that we make take a lot longer to make, like wedding work, you know. This even could be, and even though it's easy to make, you can see it's a little bit more tedious to make, you know, it's kind of taking a little bit of time. So that has to be taken into consideration. But the other thing that has to be taken into consideration is the overheads of the flower shop itself. And this is something that we cover on our classes. And not all floristry courses cover the business side of it. But here at Case Flower School, we do. We cover the business side, as in the overheads of running the business, the rent, the rates, the ESB bill, their broadband bill, their bin charges, their I have a blank here at a second, insurance, wages, tax, etc. and expenses. We literally have the full list, you know what I mean, that eventually, again, our students get to module 4 and they're trying to work out, like, you know what I mean, the overheads of their business. They will be able to work it out with us here at Case Flower School, and then they will know the formula that they have to use to get the overheads covered when they're doing their multiplying. Now again, that would be something that wouldn't always be covered on floristry courses. Like the government syllabus is, there's certain things you have to cover. But here at Case Flower School, we always kind of feel like it's not enough. Like it's grand like learning the practicals, but what if you want to open up your own business, whether it's a flower studio, whether you're working from home on a commercial basis, whether you're doing freelance as a florist, or you're setting up what we call a brick and cement or flower shop. You need to know all about the business side of it. Like another thing that we're doing, while I'm yapping away here, you can see the way I just added in 3 groups of apples there, 3 more apples there in a group, and I have a couple of little pumpkins there, and I'm going to add in a few more pumpkins on this side. But another thing that we teach on our classes is social media, marketing and selling. And we bring in experts, because as much as we know about it, we're not experts. That isn't our field. We're kind of more at the floristry end of it. So we bring in experts, we do, from the UK, from America, and obviously from Ireland as well, to talk to our students and explain about social media, explain about TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Snapchat. You know, that we go through all the different platforms of social media. And again, we explain to them about like how to sell themselves on social media, like whether it be doing reels, doing ads, doing videos, getting themselves out there. What I'm just doing now is I'm putting a little bit of glue onto the fruit slices, and again, just here and there, I'm just going to glue the fruit slices in. Again, anybody has any questions while I'm doing this, absolutely feel free to put it in the comments. So I've wired some of the fruit slices together, like that they're in twos, you know, that way. And just sometimes then I might just like add in the two smaller ones. The smaller fruit slices, I actually got them from O'Neill's Flowers. Now they have great value on the fruit slices at the moment. Now that's if they still have them available. I showed you there last week the bags of them. So they have a bag of fruit slices, and I think it's $7.50, and that's including the VAT. But if you buy 4 bags of fruits, now I'm sure you can mix them. I didn't actually confirm that with Garode, okay? But maybe if Ellen or Garode is watching there, they might actually confirm that. But if you buy 4 bags, so I'm saying you could buy a bag of lemons, a bag of limes, a bag of grapefruits, and so on, is if you mix them, you can get them for €20 for 4 bags, which works out at €5 a bag. Now, to be honest, that is absolutely for nothing. That is an absolute bargain, you know, that way. So whether it be lemon slices, orange slices, grapefruit slices, lime slices, and he has a lot of the small ones. Now with the small ones, there's more fruit slices in the bag because it goes by the weight. I think it's 250 grams is a bag, you know that way. So if you buy the smaller ones, you obviously get a lot more fruit slices in the bag than if you buy the larger ones that I've used there from O'Neill's. Now he also has the dried limes and also the dried mandarins, okay? Now because these are quite heavy, I've actually attached a wire around them, and I have a little bit of a wire sticking out. So again, I'm able to actually stick that down into our oasis base just to give it an extra bit of security. And I'm just using a couple of them here and there. What I kind of want with this table arrangement is to add a little bit of interest. That when customers are looking at it, they're saying, oh, look at the berry, oh God, look at the lime, and the apples, and the pumpkin, and the grapefruit slice, and the candles, and the different colour leaves. So lots of different texture. I'm going into an awkward spot, so a little cheat. I'm putting a bit of glue on the end of the wire, okay? And then I'm sticking it in. So I know then the glue is going to secure down into the floral foam, and it just gives it an extra bit of security. You'll always hear me talking at the school, to be sure, to be sure, to be feckin' well sure. That's in Irish, by the way, in case any Americans are watching. So now I have a couple of these little Chinese lanterns, and again I'm cutting off some of the little foliage on it, which is really, really nice. Again, I really think with this arrangement, the more textures you have, the more interesting it's going to be. Now some of them here, the handiest thing to do is just put a little dab of glue on it, stick it in there, and kind of hope for the best that it'll stick to something. The Chinese lantern has a little bit of stem on it. It's very tiny, it is. So again, I'm just putting a little dab of glue on it, and then I'm actually going to, I thought it would go down into the oasis. It's not going down into the oasis, so I'm actually just placing it onto the base. So this one here, this one seems stronger, so this one is going into the base. I don't know why the first one didn't go in. Maybe I just bent it up. No, this one has been a little bit struggly as well. So I'm cutting the plastic stem off, putting the dab of glue on, and I'm gluing it in. Oops, the daisies, there's a little bit of Afghanistan language there, and it just actually hit off me. But I'm just rubbing it there, just letting it peel off, and don't pull it off, you know what I mean? Let the glue actually just dry out on your hand. And as I said, you learn to say the Hail Mary backwards. Now this is something that I just had left over in the box from last year. And some of you are going to say, where did you buy it? I haven't an absolute clue where I bought these. But I know when I bought them at the time, they had them in little small ones as well. And it was just one that was left over. And you know, we have kind of a box here at the school, and we just call it the bitty box. And any of these odd little bits that are left over, do you know that way, rather than throw them out, we kind of put all the same colour into the box. And lo and behold, it'll come around the time where you'll probably get to use it. They did come in smaller, so here they are in smaller, just to give you an idea. Now they were a little bit small, so what I did with the smaller ones was I wired them together in threes. You can see the way I have 3 of them there wired together. So then I'll just be able to stick them in somewhere, find a little spot, and I'll just stick them in for a little bit of texture. Now I'm nearly at the stage where I'm happy enough with the quantity of material that I have, but I just want to get a little bit more coverage, okay? So this is where I'm going to go back to the leaves, just gluing that kind of twig ball in there. It just didn't secure there the first time that I pushed it. So I'm going to get a couple more of the leaves, and I'm going to use the little cheaper leaves, the little package leaves, okay? Put a little bit of glue on them, and I'm gluing a leaf on top of the leaf, you know that way. So again, anywhere at all, I just kind of feel that I could do with another leaf. So I'm just going to clear the table just a little bit there, and also what I've done is I've just added a new glue stick to the back of the glue gun. So I just need a couple more of these leaves. As I said, just here and there, just separating them up. Like, I probably haven't used even half a packet. There's still absolutely tons of these leaves, okay? Never counted them, and I'm not in the humour of counting them. And I'm just here and there, a little dab of glue on them, and I'm gluing a leaf onto other material that's there already. And it's just adding to the selection in shades. And anywhere that I kind of felt that I needed a little bit more hanging down, you know, that way maybe in under these pumpkins over this side, I just feel I could just do something else, just kind of like hanging down onto the table. Just kind of show you what I mean there, you know what I mean? It's just putting a little dab of glue on and just gluing it in. I'll just turn that around because I want this arrangement to actually sit on the table as a table ring. The inside of it, I'm fairly happy with the inside of it there. When I say fairly, I can see one little gap, okay? So just, again, just add this one in. Stick it down there underneath that berry, that's it. And again, if you have to push anything, use your knife or your pen rather than your finger. Stick it in, and just kind of in around where the candle holders are. I'm just going to bring just this one here, we can kind of see the candle holder. I'm just bringing a little bit of leaf just up around the plastic candle holder to hide it. Might do the similar kind of over here. Do you know what, I'll put a little bit of glue on, handiest. Glue that down there, just to bring a little bit of leaf up around the candle holder to hide it. See a little bit of candle holder shown over here as well. Like, it's a great way of using up any of your little bits, and again, you can work out quite inexpensive. This tiny little bit of berry that's on the table, just putting the glue in, gluing it in there, like waste not, want not. Another tiny little Chinese lantern, just finding a little spot and just gluing that in there as well. I might as well use up all the little bits that's on the table. So there is your Halloween, October, Halloween table arrangement. Very simple to use, using one of the dry Oasis bases. So again, anybody that's watching there kind of later on, these are the bases. It's a dry foam that's in it, not a wet foam, okay? We have a couple of these, very limited. We got a special offer in on them. So we have them on our website for sale, www.caseflowerschool.com, and they're under floral sundries. And again, when they're gone, but you will be able to buy them from O'Neill's Flowers, Evergreen Silk Plants, or wholesaleflowers.ie. Have we any questions there, have we?
No, not many questions now.
Everyone's happy enough. Again, if you liked this demonstration, we'd love if you clicked share and got the word out there. And remember, every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for the month of October and November, as far as I know, I'll have a free flower arranging class coming up at 10 o'clock every Sunday morning after Mass. Listen, the best of luck. Don't forget and click share, comment underneath any questions you have, and I'll talk to you all very soon.